guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the Tomorrow People Season 1, Episode 11, Rumble. And, before I start the review, I'm just going to say that, I'm not feeling the best today, so if I cough a little bit or drink, it's because my voice is just a little congested. I don't know what's really going on, but if that happens, that is why. But let's just get into this episode. In my opinion, guys, this was probably the strongest episode we've had, and you know what? It was another Cara episode. And I'm really starting to think that these Cara episodes are the strongest. And in this episode, we get back to the flashbacks. We kind of started it, and then they kind of stopped it. And I thought they were done with the flashbacks, because we know about each of the Tomorrow People. You know, we know about Russell, we know about Cara, we know about John, we know about Steven. But they didn't really tell us what happened next to Cara. We know her father kicked her out of the house. We know that she was deaf. We know that from getting her powers, she no longer became deaf, and as a result, her father kicked her out of the house. That's what we knew of her story so far. This episode kind of picks up where that left off and kind of shows us what happened to her after that, which I really like seeing because I didn't think they were actually going to do that, and that was one of my complaints about the show, was that we're not really finding out more about them. And now, here we are, we're finding out more. And they're doing exactly what I want them to do. And the Tomorrow People is just becoming a lot more interesting to me. I'm really enjoying it more. Also, first episode where Astrid did not annoy me. I actually really liked her character in this episode. I thought she was a very necessary character in the show. You know, at first I was like, oh, I don't like this character at all. But now I really do like her. Let's just start with the episode. We see 6 years ago, Cara is very depressed. She's stealing food using her telekinetic powers. And Ultra sees her doing this, chases her away. And she's grabbed by someone, and there's this guy named Julian. And this guy Julian really is not to be trusted. While this is going on, though, Steven, Astrid, and Luca are hanging out. They're talking about Peter. Steven kicks Luca out of his room and then tells Astrid about how Peter had pushed him out of his head. Astrid, it says Ingrid here, but it's Astrid. Astrid thinks they can bond over being the same, and just then Jedediah calls Steven away. So, Cara is trying to whip everyone into shape, wants Russell to be leading trainings. She goes to talk to John about how nobody's listening to her as a leader anymore, since they were ambushed, but he reassures her. And as I said, Cara really is not the best leader. It seems like John is a much better leader, it seems. It just seems that John really is the quintessential leader here, but that might change in the next episode, because there's something that happens a little bit later that kind of made me rethink this whole leader thing. So just then they hear this loud and high-pitched noise, and it's coming from Charlotte, and something's wrong with her. She's having this panic attack, and John understands and goes over to her and takes care of her. And the way John treats her is like a brother, basically. He really is a very loyal person, and this really shows John's character. In my opinion, John is probably my favorite character right now. I really love his character. You know, he's really redeemed himself, and he really shows that he's a great leader, and he really, you know, takes very good care of Charlotte. So I really liked his character in this episode. I thought he was a really great character for sure. So basically, Steven is watching this agent having her powers taken away. Jedediah informs him, and the other agents have their powers, or only a privilege. Their powers aren't guaranteed. Then he brings up Julian Masters. He's a breakout, and he left the country, but now he's back, and they need to do whatever it takes to prove to Jedediah that they belong and deserve to be agents, and that means getting Julian. So Julian, when we see Cara, she's very scared of seeing him, and we really don't know why. They tell us a little bit later. So yeah, Cara meets up with him. You know, when Steven brings Julian up to Cara and the group, he tortures people until he collapses, and she doesn't want to help Steven. He says he needs to get Julian so he can prove himself to Jedediah, but she reveals that she actually knew Julian and his girlfriend, and Steven asks John what he thinks, and he says it's not his call. So then we go back to the past, and we see Julian is actually explaining who Ultra is. He says that she needs to do what he and his girlfriend do, and Julian says she needs to find the killer inside herself, and then strangles her with his powers. So Julian, this guy is a very menacing guy, and in my opinion, I think he's probably going to be the villain of the season. I know I said that with Jedediah, but I think he's going to probably be the villain of the season. He really seems like a very powerful force to be reckoned with. You know, he really does. a American Horror Story reference, unintentional American Horror Story reference, sorry. But he really is a force to be reckoned with. You know, he really seems like someone who is very menacing and someone who definitely could be a very good villain. So John, Cara, and Russell, they're going to look for Julian. He shows up, she warns him and tells him to leave. He says they should be more like him. He says humans took everything from him and that she remembers what happened. He then talks about how weak she is. Russell pushes him around. His group shows up and they have to leave. Cara's upset. Russell approaches her. She wants to lay low and wait that they don't have the numbers to take Julian on and that Ultra wants to get him. And she thinks someone should watch him, though, and Russell volunteers. So then back in the present, we see Julian, Nellie, and Cara. They're sneaking into a house. They find someone's home. Julian says he'll handle it. Julian attacks him, and Nellie ties him up. Now, it seems like this girl, Nellie, actually wanted to, told Julian, you might be roughhousing her, and we really should not be roughhousing her like we are, because, you're really being way too tough on her, and she's just a girl, basically. So I definitely really enjoyed that. And then we see that Charlotte has another panic attack, and this time it's worse than the last time, jolting Cara out of her memories. John tries to help, she runs away. Morgan says people are starting to talk about kicking her out of the lair. Cara won't hear of it, John volunteers to watch her. Julian and his group decide to go on a spree, attacking rich people. Russell is hiding in the shadows of a rich person's house they had already attacked and overhears all of this. John lets Charlotte take out her frustration just by, punching and boxing, basically. He tells her she won't be thrown out of the lair. He comforts her and tells her that she was taken by Ultra too. He said he took his fear out of them and turned it into a weapon. He says he shows her how, while Cara eavesdrops, Charlotte uses her powers and punches him, showing her newfound control. And as I said, he really is like a brother to Charlotte. It really seems like he's a great leader. I really do like that about this character. I really hope we see Charlotte again, because I really am enjoying her character in this episode. Russell shows Cara Julian's new target. He asks what Julian has against humans, and she says he thinks they're weak. Then she orders him to stay away and let Steven and Ultra take care of it. This makes Russell upset. Cara reaches out and gives Steven a tip while Steven watches Hillary take another agent down. And back in the past, Julian beats the man up. Then he and Nellie leave for a moment. And this is pretty much the whole... We find out right here why Cara is so afraid of Julian. It's really explained right here. What ends up happening is this man pleads for his life, and Cara unties him. He runs away. Nellie walks in, finds him gone. Nellie says not to tell Julian what happened, but just as the man comes back, he shoots Nellie. Julian sees this, attacks the man, and then rushes to Nellie, calling out her name. So basically, after this happens, Julian's on the attack. Stevens is there waiting for him. Hillary shows up because she followed Steven. She runs after Julian, but he and his partner teleport away. Steven confronts her. She says she's the only one who doesn't have to worry about having his powers taken away. And Steven tells Cara that Julian got away, so Cara tells Russell to leave his hiding place where Julian's group meets, but Julian shows up and Russell can't get away. He punches Russell in the face. Russell fights back. He beats Russell up until Julian feels the pain from it, saying he's never felt so alive. Then the group converges on him. So Russell is down for the rest of the episode, basically. He's not in the rest of the episode. He's basically passed out. So Cara and John, they bring Russell into the lair, and she says she'll make Julian wish he was dead. Here, in the past, we find out what Julian actually did to Cara. It turns out that he was so devastated over Nellie, and asks Cara what she did. He blames Cara for the death of Nellie. He strangles her, says he wishes he could kill her, but he feels the pain and drops her. And he says that Ultra will find her, and that she'll die human, and she deserves it. And that is the reason why Cara is so terrified of Julian, and I really love that they explain that. I thought this was going to be something we didn't really find out till a little late, till, the rest of the episodes, but they really explain here why that happened, and I really enjoyed that a lot. So Steven then comes to Larry, sees Russell. Cara says he's stable and mumbling. Julian's sending her a message, and she decides to go after him, and he taunts her, and she starts to fight, then everyone from both sides join in. Now, the big twist here is that suddenly everyone on Cara's side teleports away. He tells her she's alone, and Charlotte is actually the one to save her. Charlotte, shows up behind Cara, uses her newborn power to attack Julian and his people, while Cara teleports away, and he regains his powers, uses his powers against his new girlfriend to block Steven, and he teleports away. So, now I'm thinking Charlotte might actually be the actual leader of the group. She really is strong, she really is a great leader, and I think that Charlotte might actually end up being the one to be the leader. I mean, she's a little young right now, but further down the line, I think she'd be a great leader. Let me know what you guys think about that, though. John and Charlotte, they're coming back to Lair. Everyone applauds to Charlotte. Morgan says she underestimated her, and Charlotte gets to stay. So Cara tells John Julian got away and that he'll come back for her. And John says they've always had to live with a guard up and that now the group has hope. So Russell wakes up, but he's really out of it, and they put him back to bed. So at Ultra, Jedekiah congratulates Steven, but he says it was a team effort, so Jedekiah told him to rate the team. Steven says he can, that everyone was great. Jedekiah applauds, but says that the week will soon have to go. Hillary and Steven are then talking. Steven said they can survive this together, and she thanks him. Steven and Cara are talking. Cara tells Steven about Nellie, and then things get awkward when they bring up how both Steven and John have feelings for her. But what I like now is that they're kind of making it a comedy thing. You know, they're not doing it as a soap opera-ish thing, because as soon as this happens, the computer Tim brings up that Cara actually loves it, and she is like, shut up, Tim. That I really like, because they were making it way too dramatic and way too soap opera-ish, and now it's nothing like that at all. They're just playing it for laughs, and I really like that. So Steven meets up with Astrid. They talk about calculus and how Steven is cheating off her mind, and they teleport away. But Hillary sees the whole thing, so now she knows about Astrid, and something is going to happen here. I don't know what's going to happen, but then we get the last scene of the episode, which is kind of like a redo of what happened to Cara in the very beginning. There's this girl, she's stealing food exactly the same way that Cara did, and Julian approaches her, takes her away. So the big question is, what is Julian's plan? And that's how the episode ends. Fantastic episode, in my opinion. I really love what they're doing with the show. Some things that they're really getting right now. One, they've really made this love triangle, they've really made it more as a silly thing, which I do like, because when the show can do comedy, that is good. Two, they've really made Astrid a much more interesting character now. Something is going to happen with her in Ultra. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll have to see, because they don't know about Astrid. They really don't. At least I don't think they do. I don't think they know about Astrid. Do you think Charlotte could become the new leader? I really could see that happening. She really is a strong person. I think she could become the leader. Not yet, but she has to wait a couple years. And also, what is Julian's plan? I'm definitely interested. So, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, probably the best episode we've gotten. I really like that they're expanding the backstories of everyone. I hope we get more of that with Russell, and I mean, we did kind of get that with John in the other episode, but that was more of him killing Steven's father, and now we really got that with Cara, so now all that's left is Russell. So, I'll see you guys for the next video, and I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'll see you guys for that. Bye!